All right, Shalom, Shalom. This is Shemaiah 1. This is today's Shabbat class. I want to go over something called artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence. Now, you can't find this in the Bible. You won't find it in the Bible. But the Most High don't need to talk about artificial intelligence because it's not important to him. It's important to the human race, but it's not important to him. And it shouldn't be as important to the saints. But we need it in order to get through different times of our lives. So let's just touch on this artificial intelligence. Let's start out with Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever you do in word or deed, do all by Shem HaMashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Heavenly Father Yahweh. By all things are done through the Father and through his Son Yahushai. First scripture I want to go to is Isaiah 45 and 7. Isaiah 45 and 7. And as we read this verse, this sums up everything concerning this AI. Isaiah 45 verse 7, and it reads, I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Most High, do all these things. The Most High has created all these things. All right, so when we start dipping into things like intelligence and technology, which aren't the same things, when we start looking into the stuff and we want to find it in the Bible, you're not going to find it in the Bible. You're going to find man in the Bible that created these things, because the Most High created mankind. So let's go into Wisdom of Solomon, because with man's inventions and man's thoughts, the Most High has a way that man is supposed to live. And when man doesn't live according to the Most High's ways, this is what he says about his intelligence. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 22. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 22 in the Apocrypha. He says, moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of the Most High. What's not enough for them? The Bible. It's not enough for mankind, those who think that they're better than the Most High. But whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, they're searching for this information somewhere else. They think that they could come up with something better. Though so great place called they peace. They're looking for peace in all the wrong places. Looking for peace in all the wrong places. This is what this artificial intelligence is. Something sought after in the wrong places. So this is what the Most High says. Now, going back to artificial intelligence, everything in this 21st century has residue of artificial intelligence. What is artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is demonstrated by machines as opposed to natural intelligence, displayed by animals, including human behavior. These machines were created to mimic working functions that humans associate with their thinking, such as learning or problem solving. This is artificial intelligence. When we hear about these apps today, like Siri, Alexa, Amazon, even the Apple digital voice assistants, all of these are real applications of artificial intelligence in our daily lives. We use these things. GPS. We got some brothers and sisters who can't live without the GPS. We got some people who can't live without the Apple digital voice assistants. All of this is artificial intelligence. To the creators of artificial intelligence is not on the same wavelength, according to them, as technology. That's an insult, slap in the face. Things like phones scanning your face or your iris of your eye, they say that that's not AI. They call that routine technology. When did AI begin? It began in 1955 in the military. Basically, it was made for the military to help form concepts and to help analyze problems. This is what it was created for. You know, a lot of us who came up during the 70s, 80s, 90s, you know, you watch Batman and Robin, and they had huge machines where they put the problem in the machine and the machine spit out an answer. That was considered artificial intelligence back then.
You, Black Widow. I thought business was good.
Business is appalling. I've completely run out of banks to rob. I've run through them all. Now that's where you may come in handy.
Me? How?
Well, everyone's heard about your bat cave, and everyone's heard about your bat computer in your bat cave.
Oh. You want me to get the bat computer to give you a bank to rob?
Precisely. Do you think you could send for it?
We don't have to send for it. I have right here in my utility belt a remote control bat computer oscillator.
Oh, how convenient. How does it work?
Simple. I just press this button and it activates the radio frequency bat generator.
And I just talk through it?
No, I talk into it. It wouldn't recognize your voice. Now, question. Is there any bank in Gotham City which Black Widow has not robbed?
My word. Wherever he is, Batman must be operating his remote control bat computer oscillator.
Here we are. The just opened Heritage First National Bank.
Lovely.
Artificial intelligence. Look at Proverbs chapter 8, verse 11. It reads, "For wisdom is better than rubies." This is something AI don't have. AI don't have your wisdom. It can't compile experiences that you go through that help you form a better reasoning for an outcome to come. And all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. Wisdom is the principal thing. Verse 12, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence and find out knowledge of witty inventions. I read that again. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence. What is prudence? Prudence is normal thinking. Prudence is to think rational. So he's saying, I, wisdom, dwell with prudence. They dwell together. And find out knowledge of witty inventions. In other words, prudence and wisdom can outwit the wittiest inventions, such as artificial intelligence. And where did you get this from? You get it from the Most High. Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 16. In the Apocrypha. 2 Ezra chapter 16, verse 61. It reads, He made man and put his heart in the midst of the body and gave him breath, life, and understanding. These three things the Most High gave man. To breathe, to have life, to have understanding. Yea, and the spirit of almighty power, which made all things and searcheth out all hidden things in the secrets of the earth. Surely he knoweth your inventions, and what you think in your hearts, even them that sin and would hide their sin. Therefore hath the Most High exactly searched out all your work, and he will put you all to shame. See that? So the Most High will put all these things, all these inventions, to shame. The reason why the Most High doesn't have to mention artificial intelligence, because he looks down on man's inventions. It's not important to him. He wants man to be righteous. He wants man to keep his law, statutes, and commandments. That's what's more important to the Most High. See, this scientific man believes that these machines can be made to simulate human intelligence and surpass human intelligence in this way of thought. And he thinks that this can happen statistically, philosophically, linguistically, psychologically, and economically. He thinks all this can happen this way. But the Most High is going to have these scientists in derision at the end. Look at 2 Ezra, chapter 8, verse 27. 2 Ezra 8 and 27. 2 Ezra chapter 8, verse 27 in the Apocrypha. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen. I say it again. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen. Now, the wicked inventions of the heathen, these are the same inventions that you use every day. But just like HBO has nice shows or good or okay shows, it also has wicked shows. So these inventions that are created has wicked intentions that man put forth out of it. Regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep the testimonies in afflictions. All right, you hear that? So we got to keep the testimonies while being afflicted. Think not upon those that have walked vainly before thee, but remember them, which according to thy will have known thy fear. Let it not be thy will to destroy them which have lived like beasts. Who's living like beasts? The heathen and our people who don't want to keep the laws, that want to walk vainly, wickedly. But to look upon them that have clearly taught thy law throughout all of these different times and facets of generations, the Most High still wants us to do the same thing. Hold fast to what he's given us and keep his commandments. And follow his son, Hamashiach Yahushai, who gives salvation to the Israelites. Continue to meditate on his law and teach it. These artificial intelligences have been the very instrument to create the vaccine for the COVID-19.
From France, Italy, South Korea, Thailand, Indonesia, and all the way to Brazil, multiple hospitals and screening centers are using AI in COVID-19 management. Let's explore how AI works in COVID-19 settings and what recent studies say about its effectiveness in COVID-19 management. AI helps better triage and monitor COVID-19 patients. Monitoring patients is also important. Once the patients are admitted to hospitals, community isolation facilities, etc., their conditions should be checked on a regular basis. AI-aided chest X-ray exams can help monitor the progression and/or regression of pneumonia safely, accurately, and easily. What do studies say about AI for COVID-19? There are a couple of studies published in peer-reviewed journals that validate the effectiveness of AI in COVID-19 management. According to the study published in PLOS One, the overall performance of Lunit AI in detecting COVID-19 pneumonia on chest radiography was as high as that of thoracic radiologists. In particular, Lunit AI outperformed thoracic radiologists in sensitivity. The study demonstrates that AI-aided chest radiography can be a reliable screening exam to identify COVID-19 patients, facilitating patient screening and isolation decisions, and ultimately reducing the workload of medical staff during the pandemic.
The AI is also a system of compounded databases. So, for example, from the 1950s all the way up to now, you have scientists who go to school, and from the 60s to the 70s, they take this information and they compound it in these systems, a global system, like CERN. They compound this information in it. And then the next generation comes and they compound that information, all the data and research of different things, science, law enforcement, health, education, and they compound it into this system called the AI. And the AI takes this information and breaks it down and comes up with a, you type in what you want and it spits out the answer. The artificial intelligence is also a system of compounded databases where everyone in a certain field dumps their studies into this computer system to assist the machine in computing a process of elimination to come up with a solution for the problem that ranges from the last 60 years. So this is what happens. Let's go to Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 9. For the ungodly and his ungodliness are both alike hateful unto the Most High. Who's the people compounding this information? These are the best of the classes. These are the scientists and the lab techs. These are all these people compounding this information into this machine. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of the Most High they are become an abomination, and stumbling blocks to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vainglory of men they enter into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. They weren't here in the beginning. Man created these things. Man came up with these ideas. The ideas of the artificial intelligence is of man. He already has wicked intentions. What do you think the artificial intelligence is going to have? Wicked intentions. Will it be able to communicate with other artificial intelligences? Yes, that's the whole purpose of it. More wicked intentions. When you look at George Bush of 2001, what did he do? He came out with the Patriot Act. The Patriot Act gave this government power to listen in on any conversation that you might be having, to protect this government, to protect this society. Whatever you may say, if you say the right thing, it could be a buzzword that jerks the hand of the AI to come and do a little bit more research on you and whoever you're affiliated with. It's called the Patriot Act. Look it up. The information is present on your Google. The Patriot Act opened up the door to AI. All of this information, the creator of AI died in 2003. Now, he may not have had the intention to do what AI is doing today, but you know what? AI has taken off and other men now operate and control it. So don't be fooled with these diseases that are out today and these variants. A lot of these diseases and variants have been around for ages and eons, for years and years and years. They've been running tests on the MERS virus, the SARS virus, the Ebola virus, the COVID virus since the early 90s. This stuff has been around. There's nothing new. All this stuff has been around. This is a big ploy. Whether you believe it or not, it's a big ploy. Nobody's in on it but the elite. Artificial intelligence is a part of this. I think, personally speaking, that they created this thing, this variant, or this COVID-19 vaccine for the purpose of AI, just to see how fast it can analyze and produce an answer for the problem that's at hand. These variants were out. All it needed was the right vice to release these variants to start their war games. What is war games? War games are simulations. This is a simulation game. They killed the scientist down in Georgia who was going to be a whistleblower. They killed the man in Wuhan, China, the scientists who were going to come out and also be a whistleblower. Why? We don't know. Maybe they were going to tell us about this variant being released. But we have to understand that This artificial intelligence is being formed into a God. All the pieces, parts, and bolts are being put together to form this particular invisible God for mankind. These things, let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 verse 9. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. I'll read it again. The thing that hath been, this thing has been done before, it is that which shall be. The bubonic plague, you don't think that was here before? This COVID, you don't think it was here? Measles, weren't they here during the Native Americans? All these different diseases, the diseases that we had on the ships coming over here from Africa to the Americas, you don't think those diseases were around before? The Most High said he would make these diseases wonderful. They keep coming. The thing that have been, it is that which shall be. And that which is done, is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. The Most High said, ain't no new thing under the sun. This COVID, this virus that's out, this ain't nothing new. The vaccines created, they already had this thing created. These machines are able to produce a vaccine so fast now from the data inputted into these systems of all these studies and research done over the last 60 years. We're all like, wow, they came up with this vaccine so fast. Well, why do you think? Artificial intelligence. It has all their information. It has all their studies. It has research on top of research on top of research. It's like a game. Verse 10. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old times, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come, with those that shall come after. See that? How are you supposed to remember these things when no one tells you about that this stuff happened before? You don't know if they used this in Vietnam, World War II. These are all different pilot programs that's going on, that's been used before. These things that we see have been repackaged and sold to the highest bidder, just so they can affect us and offer a solution to salvation. They've been peeing on our heads and telling us it's raining. And we believe it. This AI will become stronger with each algorithm that's imitated step by step with reasoning that humans use when they solve puzzles to make logical deductions. What I mean by algorithms? Algorithms is a process of set rules to be followed by calculations of problems. What do I mean by that? For example, you hear a beat in a song. Boom, ba-boom, boom, boom, ba-boom, boom, ba-boom, ba-boom, boom, boom, ba-boom, boom, ba-boom. After a while, your mind starts to catch that rhythm and you catch that beat and you can follow it. If you make a mistake on following that beat and AI is involved, AI will correct you and get you in tune to follow that beat. It's kind of like when we watch Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Remember they had AI in that? They copied the tune of the UFO. Boom, 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 boom. Well, that was artificial intelligence. This whole plot of COVID was for their computers to see how fast it can analyze, adapt, and quantify a solution. When we see these computers are all connected. They've already mastered common sense from your inputs of text messages, comments. They're learning from every comment you place on this system. They're learning from it. Comment after comment. It's showing your semantics. It's showing your race. It's showing how you logically use your slang words. Everything. These computers, they're learning your common sense. They're learning your knowledge based on the fact of how you answer things, how you leave comments on comment boards, how you reply with new videos on different subjects. Let's go to Ezekiel 28:3. Thus saith the Most High of Hosts, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas. Yet thou art a man and not God. Though thou set thine heart as the heart of God, with this AI in America, behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee. The Patriot Act. They gather and compound all this information up where they know what you're thinking. Alexa app. Okay? Siri's app. It's all compounding your information and your thoughts. You purchase something on Amazon and then it just floods your phone with all this information of something that you purchased without you even knowing it. Look at Daniel chapter 4. And let's look at the algorithm of what Daniel had to go through when he had to answer King Nebuchadnezzar's dream. Daniel chapter 4, verse 5. It reads, I saw a dream which made me afraid, and the thoughts upon my bed and the visions of my head troubled me. This is Nebuchadnezzar. Therefore made I a decree to bring in all the wise men of Babylon before me, that they might make known unto me the interpretation of the dream. Then came in the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, the wise men, and the soothsayers. And I told the dream before them, but they did not make known unto me the interpretation thereof. But at the last, Daniel came in before me. Daniel was a slave in Babylon. And they put him in this position because he had learned all the ways of Babylon. It says, whose name was Belteshazzar, according to the name of my God, and in whom is the spirit of the holy gods. And before him I told the dream, saying, O Belteshazzar, master of the magicians, because I know that the spirit of the holy gods is in thee. Now, why did he name Daniel Belshazzar? That was a god in the Babylonian world. That's like somebody naming a brother in the truth Buddha. That ain't his name. But that's what Daniel had, a name as such. And no secret troubleth thee. Tell me the visions of my dream that I have seen, and the interpretation thereof. Thus were the visions of mine hid in my bed. I saw, and behold, a tree in the midst of the earth, and the height thereof was great. Now Daniel had already did his homework. He already knew that the magicians, the astrologers, the Chaldeans, and the soothsayers had already went up to the king, and they told him parts of his dream. So now there's an algorithm going on where Daniel knows what this king is requiring. So this is what makes Daniel different from the rest of these so-called wise men. Daniel was an Israelite. Daniel was from the tribe of Judah. Daniel walked with the Most High of Israel. And when you walk with the Most High of Israel, the Most High of Israel will give you understanding. Look at Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. It reads, This matter is by the decree of the watchers. Who are the watchers? The angels. And the demand by the word of the holy ones. Who are the holy ones? The Israelites. To the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdoms of men, and giveth to whomsoever he will, and set up over it the bases of men. Who were the bases of men in Babylon at that time? The children of Israel. He allowed Daniel to be put into a position right up under the king, which was Nebuchadnezzar, and give him information. Why did that happen? Because that's part of the prophecy. When you go into Genesis chapter 49, Genesis 49 verse 8, it reads what? Genesis 49 and 8. Judah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. It reads, thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Where was Daniel? His hand was at the neck of his enemy, which was King Nebuchadnezzar, the king. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. Daniel was in the same predicament as the prophecy that was given to him by our forefather Jacob, that the tribe of Judah would be at the neck of his enemies. And so the Most High is telling us in Daniel chapter 4, verse 17, that he ruleth in the kingdom of men. And he puts whoever he wants next to the rulers. In this particular case, he chose a child of Judah, which was Daniel, Belshazzar. And he broke down the prophecy. Let's go to Psalms chapter 147, verse 19. Now, this is better than AI. The Most High uses us to be those algorithms for all the other people, to help them on their way. Now they're substituting us with this artificial intelligence. And they're trying to move us out of the way and assimilate us into society as nobodies. Psalms chapter 147, Psalms 147, verse 19. It reads, he showeth his word unto Jacob. Who did he show it to? Jacob, not to artificial intelligence. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation, and as for his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye the Most High. So the Most High is going to show his word to Jacob, the 12 tribes of Israel, who are a nation and a company of nations. Okay? The 12 tribes of Israel are a company of nations. This is what we have to understand. And the Most High will rule within the kingdom of men, using us to understand that these heathens, they are building a false god that can calculate, translate, retrieve information in a nanosecond, and transform this information into an answer for you. They or it is trying to master the medical field. It is trying to master the scientific field. It is trying to master all these different fields, the mathematical field, the everything you could think of, before moving on to the next series. When you see transplants of artificial brains, or them create a simulated child for child development of a new brain of artificial intelligence, when that happens, then prepare for what they would call iRobot. So we've been watching these shows all our lives with artificial intelligence, but they had them as robots. You know, movies like Star Wars and Battlestar Galactica, The Jetsons, The Matrix, Terminator, Aliens, Lost in Space, and they all have a form of artificial intelligence in these movies. In other words, artificial intelligence cannot save you. The only thing that can save you is the Most High, Yahweh, and the Son, Yahweh Shai. Artificial intelligence may be able to help you, but it can't save you. Okay? It will only help you if you are a prudent man. It will only help you, again, if you are a prudent man, meaning that you are going to do things righteously and not wickedly. If you trust in this thing wholeheartedly, you will fall. Let's go to Revelation chapter 18. Revelation chapter 18, let's start at verse 4, and it reads, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, that you receive not of her plagues." That you receive what? Not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities. Our people today are stuck on this voting thing. The Most High is going to cripple this voting thing because our people put all their energy into it. They think that's the only weapon that they have to fight in the society. Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her work. And the cup which she hath filled, fill to her double. How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Same thing that is said in Ezekiel. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burnt with fire. For strong is the Most High Yahweh, who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her, when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. So what is this AI? Who's benefiting off these vaccines? Who's benefiting off these artificial intelligence? Merchants. Merchants like Elon Musk, all of these. Whenever you see something going down on TV, turn around and look at some of the rich and billionaires on TV and see what they're doing, trying to go into space and putting their money into this and that. They're getting rich. That's why the Most High is putting a flag here for you to see. The merchants are what drives this country into being rulers over the rest of the world, over the nations. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stones and of pearls, and then it goes on and on and on. Jump over to verse 23, and it reads, And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee, and the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For the merchants, there goes the merchants again, for thy merchants were the great men of the earth, the men of renown. These merchants here on this earth. For by thy sorceries, AI, were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. So now you see, AI is not going to save you. What's going to save you? The Most High told you. Keeping his laws, statutes, and commandments, and being honest, and following his ways, and trying to do your due diligence to teach this word. And with that, I hope you learned something today. Most churches will not go into this, dealing with artificial intelligence. And like I said, the Most High don't even have to mention this mess because it's not important to him. It's like he didn't have to mention things about the unclean animals that we're not supposed to eat. He didn't mention what these things will do to us because it's not important. He told you don't do it. So this is how we have to take other things in this earth. Live prudently with the Most High's wisdom. Remember, the principal thing is wisdom of the Most High.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.